I'm Moy, Cynthia here, and today I'm going to talk about the advantages of working at home. I'm going to talk about the disadvantages as well. You know, so a lot of people, some people may obviously know that I work at home. Whether it's paid work or free work, I usually work at home, music or designing or anything like that. And they have their advantages. They also have their disadvantages. You know, I'm pretty sure there's loads of other people out there who work at home and they're aware of these advantages and disadvantages as well. I thought I'd just decide to use it as a topic today to talk into a video. Keep in mind that some of the advantages I'm about to say may sound a lot similar, but there is differences if you really think deep about them. Same with the disadvantages as well. I've written down 7 advantages and 6 disadvantages. There could be more, but these are the ones that's really I feel top in my head at the moment. And 13 to talk about is enough really. So what I'm going to do is say an advantage, then say disadvantage, and say an advantage, and say a disadvantage. So I'm going to start off here with this first advantage. One advantage about working at home is cheap travel. You know, I don't have to pay for traveling. Obviously, what am I doing for travel? I get out of bed, come into the studio. No, don't need no bus ticket for that or anything like that. I've got friends who takes the train to work and everything like that, and the amount of money they spend, you know, for train tickets, like throughout the whole year, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money missing, which could have been on their wages. All right, fair enough. They do need the train to get to work. They do need it. They do need to spend that money. But just imagine if they were working, receiving all the money that they get, and not having to spend that money on the side as well. You know, anyone who works at home, they're going to get that sort of joy. So that's definitely an advantage, right there. And a disadvantage is you can ruin your sleep pattern. That's definitely a disadvantage of working at home because you end up just working different times. You'll find you won't really have a set time when you go to work or when you finish work. You know, you'll find you'll just end up working any random time that you could work, and it's like I've got to situations where I've gone to bed like 11 p.m. at night or 1 a.m. at night or even 4 a.m. at night or even bloody sorry, so 4 p.m. Did I say 4 p.m. at night? I said sorry, 4 a.m. in the morning. I meant to say, and 7 a.m. in the morning. So I mean, I could be going to bed when you guys are waking up from your night sleep. I am nocturnal. Working at home can make you nocturnal, and you know, some people could say it's not a very good thing, but then I don't know if it's not that bad much of a bad thing either because I know I'm not the only person who works at home. I know I'm not the only person here who works night times. There's always people who do things like this. So yeah, I'm definitely agreeing that, but it can ruin your sleep pattern regardless. It definitely can, you know. And an advantage I'm going to talk about is that I don't have to worry about the bad weather. You know, I've seen situations where people they get used to traveling. Obviously, they get used to traveling to work. They have to, and it feels nothing. It's nothing really wrong with them traveling it, whether they're spending money or if they don't mind. But I have seen the extra frustration when it's raining or when it's snowing and all that. I've seen that extra frustration. You know, I've had it myself when I used to go to college and go to courses. When it's raining ridiculously hard, when you know you're about to get proper soaked, it's like, oh, damn. You know, when it's snowing and icy real bad, you don't want to drive on that. That's another thing I thought to mention about the cheap travel. Even if you're not even using a train or bus and everything like that, you're still putting money in your petrol for your car as well. Forgot to mention that as well if you're driving to work. But yeah, but back to the weather situation. it could be a bad weather on the day. Me, obviously, I don't have to worry about bad weather unless my roof is mashed up, which thank Lord right now it isn't. So so there's that and that, and there's more to say about that one, but then that will be more to do with this other topic, which I'll get back to in a minute. So let's get on to another disadvantage. This disadvantage is kind of similar to the first, but it's still different. You can overwork yourself. You really can overwork yourself without even knowing. Like, because like I said already, I have no set time of when I work or when I don't work and everything that, yeah. I could just work up to 14 hours without me even knowing. And what's worse is that I'd work these 14 hours without eating, without even having a break in between. It's like, it's like there's this time here when I remember waking up, coming to the studio. I was working on a 3ds Max. I was doing something on it, and I just remembered 10 to 12 hours went past. Just out of nowhere, just like that. Just went past like that. I thought to myself, really? All those hours just went past just like that? Time goes so fast, and when you're really trying to work and get what you want to get done, it's just fast. And like I said, it's messed up my sleep pattern. It's messed up my eating pattern because I don't eat. It's actually got to points now where people ring me up and remind me to eat. I'd have friends reminding me to eat. I have my mum reminding me to eat. Like, it gets to the point where people are asking, so what did you eat today? And half the times I'm saying nothing. People are like, dude, you should be eating, man. I don't, and I hardly have been eating. And there was this time when I put a picture on Facebook. It was in the summer, and I was wearing like just a tank top, so you could see my shoulders and arms, and I looked skinny in that photo. I really did look skinny. A lot of people were saying, dude, aren't you eating? Because that's what happens. You really just lose your rhythm in what you eat every day and all that. So it can be pretty bad. It can be a little bit bad, Another advantage, and this one's quite a big one because it's been happening a lot this year. I don't have to worry about train strikes. So once again, this is to the people who go to work via train, because obviously you got a lot of people who live probably on the outskirts of London, like the edges of London or whatever, and then they work in central London. They need the tube, and there's been so many train strikes this year. A lot of people are getting pissed off. There's a lot of people getting angry with what's happening, and obviously it doesn't affect me because I'm working here at home, but I understand the frustrations of these people. I also understand the frustrations of the train drivers and the people working for the underground and why they go on strike as well. I've heard it's not really much to do with just wanting more money. It's actually a lot more involved in that. But it's not my place to talk about it, so I won't go too far. But I understand everyone's frustration, and when you can't get to work, that's a really bad thing. I even remember, watching this video, right? Basically, when there's a strike, you usually have rail replacement buses. So that would be a bus that will take you from one station to another, but a long way. And I saw there was a video outside where the video starts outside Victoria Station. There's a bus stop right outside the Victoria Station, and the queue for the rail replacement buses is one of the longest queues I've ever seen in my life. The video was sped up because if they showed the normal speed, it would be a long video. It showed the guy walking along the queue all the way down this road, crossing another road, and all these people are queuing across that road, and they're going down all along this long building, and then around the corner, and still going down that long building, and all the way to almost at the end of that road as well. That's a long queue. That's probably one of the longest queues I've ever seen. And you're talking to someone who's actually waited 2 hours in a queue to see one of the UFC favourites. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a long. So man, it's long, and and definitely the fact that where I work at home, I don't have to worry about these train strikes. I'll never have to be late. So yeah, that's another advantage. That's a big advantage right there. And here's another disadvantage: when your computer's mashed, you're fucked. You know, when my computer mashes up and everything that, yeah, and I can't use it, I can't work. Now I'm the one who's fucked. You know, it's a good thing that I have two computers. Yeah, one on which I do music on, one which I do design and animation on. So if one messes up, I can easily just work on the other one. But let's imagine if both of them were just messed. You know, and there was a time when that happened. I can't do nothing. I'm doing nothing for the rest of. I'm just doing nothing for the day. Now, if I was working in an office, if I was working outside, working with a lot of people and everything there, then when the computer mashes up, they'll just give me another one just like that, or I'll just move and work with other guys just for a quick moment, for just that moment until while they're fixing mine. I always will have other things to do while I'm at the office, so that's a different situation. You know what I mean? You know, you get one thing's mashed, you just work on the net. You there'll always be substitutes. There's no substitute here. These computers are all I got. No one's going to lend me their computer, you know what I mean? So if these computers mash up, then I'm fucked. You know, you have to wait. I have to wait till I'm saved up there to buy a new one or whatever, or wait for it to arrive after I order it. Because sometimes I order equipment and it takes long to get here, which is annoying. So it's really that is a really big annoying thing, a little big annoying situation. Now the next advantage I'm going to talk about is about breaks and what I can do during the breaks. I've already said that there has been those times where I hardly ever take a break, where I'd work hours and hours without even taking a break. But there are times when I'm aware of what I am doing and then I will take a break. Sometimes you want to take a break, you take a break. You can take a break whenever you want to take a break when you're working at home. You know, when you're working outside, you'll have a scheduled time to do your break. Now, here's the situation. There are times when the flow, when you're working, the flow comes out at a certain time, and it may not come at the time when you want. Now, let's imagine it's time for your break, but then your mind is still flowing, your motivation is still flowing, you're still like working. You just you don't even take that break. Then it comes later on to a time when you want to take a break, but then that time is over. You've got to take a break at this time and that time only with most jobs. So you have to take the break when you want. With me, I can take the break whenever I need to take the break. You know, if I'm just working and the flow's going, I'll just keep going. But then if something's not going very well or I just need something, I will take the break. And what do people usually do during their break when they're in the office and everything and all that, you know? It all depends. What do they have there in the office? Some people just go out just for a quick smoke and maybe have a drink, coffee or whatever and all that. And they're just sitting like in a room, whatever. There could be a pool table in there for that, yeah. There's all good things that you could do during your break. At least during my break, I can do what's in my house. I can just more or less just like chill for a few moments. I could actually put on a quick game, put on the PlayStation and just have a little quick game or something like that. You know, I try to discipline to the point where I don't play too much games when I want to work. You know, what I try and do most of the times is play games on Sunday. Don't really work too much on Sunday. I literally just have my chilling out days on Sunday. And with the other rest of the days, I'll work. And if I have a little break, I'll try and not play too much games during that on those days. So, you know what I mean? But that's what I could do. I can play whatever game I want during a break. You know, or I could browse the internet. You know, or I can mess about with the Rubik's Cubes. You can basically, when you're at your house, what do you do during your break? You do what you like doing at your own house, really. So that's So that in my opinion is a really big advantage. And a disadvantage is a disadvantage I've got to say about that. You tend to go out less. You know, that's kind of a thing I've noticed about myself. Yeah, I do go out less. I mean, when you're working, you're working. You're only concentrating on working on what you want to get done and everything and all that. Yeah, my studio's here. I don't need to go out, do I? Technically, so I tend to go out less. And I realise that's a bad thing because I've heard recently about how walking increases creativity in your brain by about 60%. So I've got to go out for walks a bit more often. But you know, you do tend to go out less. There's been times when I'll go out and just in my own area, I see new things. I'm like, what the hell? When was this being made? I'm like, I didn't even know that this thing was being done. I didn't know that was being done. So I miss out on certain things that's in progress, you know. Another advantage that I'm going to talk about here, which is kind of similar to the last one, is lunch and dinner. You know, what do you have for lunch? Well, can it be two things? One, whatever you take with you, or two, whatever's near you, like whatever's near your workplace. That's if you work outside. With me, obviously, I can more or less eat what I want. Really, you know, it's the same thing again. I can just take my break and quickly cook something that I would like, or order food from wherever shops I have and all that. You know, I remember every time my friend was coming home from work, he'd always would get his dinner, which would always be a McDonald's because that's the only thing that's open when he's coming home. McDonald's is all he has, really. It's literally that. You know, he doesn't come home any other random time for him to go any other shop. So McDonald's is all he eats. And fair enough, he's got to stop doing it now because he's starting to hear that it's making him a bit sick. But there's been situations like this. Okay, situations like that could actually be avoided because maybe you could also order food, yeah, to your workplace as well, maybe. But are you allowed to use your phone, yeah, during your work times? See, there's if questions, if questions. With me, it just doesn't matter. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, this isn't just my case. I think other people don't have problems. And fair enough, I live in an area where there's quite a lot of kebab and chicken and chip shops around there anyway. So I definitely always will have my places to get lunch and dinner. And I just know that where I used to work, there was none of those around, but just like I said, but just a McDonald's. So so that one just all depends. I think that one's all about its situation of like where you work and everything and all that. So maybe that one's not that much of a strong advantage. And another disadvantage, this one's kind of the same as the last one again, but you know, I got more to say about it. It's that I walk less. You know, is that I walk less. I already talked about tend to going out less. The disadvantage about going out is you're not seeing much what you usually see. You know, you're not going out, not going doing things. You're not hanging out with the people you usually hang out with. That's what I was talking about when I going out. Walking, I'm pretty sure anyone who works in an office and everything and all that, right? Anyone who actually works outside does a damn lot more walking in that day than I would, you know, or anybody else who works at home does, you know, because obviously they have to walk to the bus stop or to their car or to whatever traveling they're doing. Might have to walk to work as well. And if you're working in an office, I'm pretty sure there's always times where you have to walk from one corridor to another and always do this and blah blah. There's always going to be walking. There's going to be a lot more walking you do during the day than someone like me. And as said already, I've heard a situation about how it can increase creativity. So you know, even when you're working really much, you do tend to just go walking less, and uh, I'm going to do my best to change that. But and hopefully anyone else who works at home does the same as well. Got I gotta sort of just keep it to myself and just say keep that flow going and just say, man, I need to go out for a walk. Sometimes I'm even walking at night now to try and keep up with that. But yeah, that is one other thing as well. And here's an advantage which I think, well, for my case, it's definitely a situation, but it depends where you're working, which might affect the situation. I can basically have whatever music or whatever film or whatever on while I'm working. If you're in an office, I know you can't have that unless you wear headphones in the office, which I don't know if people do. I know I keep using Office a lot more often than that, yeah, but um, maybe that's probably because that's what loads of my friends, besides the ones who are teachers, all working, to be honest. I know there's loads of other different jobs outside as well, but I don't think, well, if you're working in a warehouse and everything, I don't think you have your own music with you there and all that. Now, when I'm working on music, then obviously that's the music I'm listening to. But if I'm working on animation or design, anything, or editing, sometimes I can just put on a song that I want to listen to. I could be listening to Zircon music, and Zircon music is, his music is great music. Sadly, he's not recognized by the public and everything, so so that stuff wouldn't be on the radio. So if I was working, let's say in retail or office, there's no chance I'll be listening to Zircon while working. But when you're at home, you get to listen to what you want. One time I was working on design and everything and all that, yeah, and I had Real Steel on in the background. You can put any movie you want. I sometimes have the Rocky movies on in the background, or I could be watching some South Park on here while working. Sometimes you can multitask. People say you can't multitask. You can do it easily. All right, maybe I'm not putting too much concentration into the South Park, yeah, but it's still something on to have in the background, in the atmosphere. So it still helps out, and it's just great. I just enjoy it, And the last disadvantage I'm going to say is when you're working and your boss isn't around. Obviously, you ain't got your boss is could be online. There's been a time when I was working on a music for someone, and I had this little side here. I was thinking, could this be what he wants, or whatever? Could this be what the side he wants? And I didn't want to go further with it until I could show it to him, see what he likes so far. And I had to wait about 2 days till he got back online again to listen to it again. And I've actually spoke to people who work at home, and they've told me that they've had cases where they would work on something for someone, they're waiting for that person to come back, then that person comes back and says, "Have you done the song yet?" But the person was waiting to try and get your approval of if it's sounding right so far. If they went ahead and just did it and just did what they think was it, and you show it to them and they don't like it, then it's you need to sort of try and communicate with each other as you're doing the work. It's the same thing when I'm working with artists who's drawing my characters 8D. You get some good artists who get it so right because they're in contact with you constantly, but then you get the ones here who think, okay, let me just do it like this. If he don't like it, yeah, fuck him. Right. Obviously, what do you think that's going to happen in the end? I'm going to give you a bad review in it, yeah. But when when the boss isn't really around, I always, if I'm hiring somebody, I'm always going to try and be with that person, whether it online. Oh, wow, I was out of space. I had to delete some stuff on the phone to get some more in. So still got a little bit. So I got a bit of time left to record the rest. So what was I saying? Yeah, boss isn't. Yeah, when I try and work with people, if I was hiring someone to do something, I'll try and stay with them through the course of the work, so they don't get lost and everything like that. But that the way you always would treat someone else, no one or not other people would always treat you. So it's a bit of so that's a frustrating disadvantage when you're trying to work and the guy isn't around to help you, but he expects you to get it done. They expect you to get it done. So that's one. So that's definitely a bigger disadvantage for the last one, should I say? And the last advantage, image won't matter. You work at home. It's become a really big, massive norm and debate of people who if they have a tattoo, they don't get jobs, and it's a big debate of should that be, is that right or whatever. In my personal opinion, it's not right. You know, if you have a tattoo and you don't get a job just because your tattoo is pretty it's kind of bullshit in my opinion, because if you get a tattoo, that doesn't make you any more dumber. If you've got skills to work in the field you're working in, then you should have the job. I don't see why tattoos stop that. You know, people get judged because, oh, they have this and all that. And if you're too fat, you don't get jobs usually either because of certain ignorant people, to be honest. You know, I think this is still stupidness and all crap. Obviously, when you're working at home, you don't have to worry about what you're wearing. You don't have to worry about how your hair is styled. You don't have to worry about what jewellery you have. You don't have to worry about the piercings. You don't have to worry about tattoos. You don't have to worry about your weight. You don't have to worry about anything when you work at home. So that's also a big advantage. You know, if you're not getting hired because of something that you have that makes you happy, I suggest you got to try and look for a way to work at home, so you could be a bit happy. You know, that's definitely the last advantage to talk about. So that's all I wanted to speak to you about, guys. Yeah, thanks very much for watching this video, and I'll speak to you all later. Love who you are.